What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler coming at you with another great video. Today we're going to kind of touch on something that, well, maybe my opinion's changed over time, and that is spinning reels. We're going to talk about spinning reels today, and we're going to go through kind of a gamut, a pretty wide little range of price points, all reels that I have and have had for quite some time, and I'm going to talk to you about them, give you my opinion for what it's worth, and why over time that opinion may have changed. But if you're new to the channel, you like this kind of content, hit that little subscribe button right down there. Join the community. Feel free to drop comments. I try and respond to everybody. Just depends on how much you engage as to how much my response engages, if you will. Or if you just asked a direct question, I'll answer it to the best of my ability. All right, moving on. Thanks for that. Thanks for watching today. Let's get on with the show. All right, let's talk reels. And I'm going to have to go back and look at price points now because price points have changed on some of these. Some drastically, some not so much. One thing I have noticed with spinning reels, and it's kind of frustrating in my opinion, is it seems like they've got a price point every $5. I think that's a little overkill, but who knows? I don't know. So, needless to say, I don't have all of them, but I do have some really good choices. And this is a Shimano Sahara. I can't say that it's been heavily used. It's a solid reel. It's a good choice if that's where your price point is. And I'll put right down there what that price point is now. But I've had this for a long, long time, well over 10 years. And like I said, you can see it still has 100% fluorocarbon on it. It is the only reel I have that has fluorocarbon on it. So back in the day, we used to fish 6-pound test. And even though this reel is older, there it is. There's the switch so that you could back reel, okay? It was very important because, quite honestly, the drags weren't necessarily the best. And maybe that's because back in that time, I did not believe in spending a lot of money on spinning reels. Quite honestly, I just didn't throw them a whole lot. So the Sahara was a good reel, solid choice. Not something I would go with today, just because my opinion has changed on what's important. But we'll get into that as we move down the line here. Now, the next one that's on that list is the Daiwa Fuego, okay? The Fuego, in my opinion, is probably one of the best lower cost reels on the market. Now, one thing I will say, it seems a little bulky, and it is compared to some of the newer models that we're going to get into. But that said, this reel has got a ton of miles on it. It is extremely solid. It's got a great drag. And it has done me well. Okay, I have no complaints with this reel whatsoever. I like the big handle, and that's something that I've really grown accustomed to on a spinning reel, is I like the bigger handles. And some have them, some don't. We will talk about it as we go through the lineup here. I just want to get this line spun up on here, just so it's not dangling all over the place. But the Daiwa Fuego in that $100 price point, in my opinion, out of the reels I've used, could possibly be the best buy in that range. And you're going to find that I mostly believe in Daiwa and Shimano when it comes to spinning reels. However, I do have this new Revo X here that I bought last year for testing purposes mostly, but I've been quite impressed with it. It can be had for under $100 on fairly regular, you know. If you look around, look for sales, that kind of stuff, what you will find is that this reel does not have the switch so that you can back reel. This is a newer reel, and by this time, most spinning reels, the drags have gotten much better. In the old days, drags would stick and they wouldn't be consistent. and they've gotten much, much better, and it tends to go by price point, although a lot of that stuff has trickled down to the lower cost reels. Now, this Revo, I will say, it looks pretty cool. I've been more than impressed with its casting ability with braid to fluorocarbon leader, and that's going to be a common theme through all the rest of these reels, is it's braid to fluorocarbon is how I fish them. But I've been pleasantly surprised with this. I wouldn't necessarily say I would use it in a tournament, but that has more to do with the other reels that I do have at my disposal, so I'm going to use the better stuff, quite honestly. All right, so those are my lower price point reels. Now we're going to go up, and we're going to go up kind of substantially here to a point, as I think most of these I paid around the $200 mark. This one here is definitely at that $200 mark, and this is a Daiwa Tatula. Now, I've actually really liked this reel. They're pretty light. If I made a mistake on this one, it was buying a 2000 size reel. I've really grown accustomed to and like the 2500 to 3000 size reel, but this reel has been really, really good to me. Now, that said, there's some other choices that I would probably, well, let's talk about the reel, okay? The drag's been phenomenal. It casts pretty well, being that it's a 2000 size reel. That's not the reel's fault. That's my fault for buying a 2000 size reel. Like I said, it's a very light reel. It casts well. The drag has been very consistent. This one does have that switch, so you can back reel. I don't know that the new models do. This was purchased when the Tatula spinning reel had first come out. Okay, so Daiwa has come out with another Tatula. I believe it's called the LT. So now they have two price points, $199 I think and $299. I have a hard time with the $299 price point. And we'll get to that in a minute as we go through these, as we pull out the next. And I got Shimano's here too, guys, okay? I'm just trying to go through by brand, if you will. All right, next in line is the Daiwa Ballistic. Now, this reel is a 3000, yet it is pretty much smaller than that Fuego. You'll see the handle there. I really like these handles, okay? It makes it really easy to grab. A lot of times I'm using spinning rod in the winter. My hands are cold. They don't grab things very, very well. This just makes it easier for me to hold on to. Okay, the Daiwa Ballistic is, I believe, what they call monocoque. This is a Ballistic LT 3000, very light. Also has the switch for back reeling. Again, this is a reel I've had for quite some time. I don't know if the new models do. I would hope so, because some guys still like it, and it has its advantages at times. The Ballistic has a great drag, casts very well, very comfortable in hand all day. Never had any problems with it, okay? And this is where we're getting now to where I've found that spending the extra money on a spinning reel, meaning in that $200 price range, is well worth it. And look, for the longest time, I didn't believe that. From using these reels all these years, I've come to believe that now. All right, this is a reel that's still available. I don't really know. It's a Procyon EX. I would probably put this in that same reel category as the Ballistic, okay? It's just metal instead of the monocoque, so it is heavier. The drag's been phenomenal. No issues there. The handle gets back into more of that standard spinning reel type handle, right? You go back to that Shimano, it's a little bigger than that. So this is kind of a tweener, you know, kind of runs in between. It works. I really like the bigger ones better, but that's just personal preference, and you could always change them if you wanted to. It's not the end all be all, that's for sure. So again, the drag has been phenomenal on this reel. It is an older reel. This model, I don't know if it's still made. The Procyon, I don't know exactly what's going on with it, if they're getting rid of it. But some of them have been on clearance for quite some time. And honestly, for a bass fisherman, unless you're really budget conscious, I think the Ballistic is a better buy. Just like I think the Ballistic is a better buy than that $299 Tatula. I think it gives you everything that you need. I don't know what you would gain between the $299 Tatula and the $220, $229 Ballistic. Like I said, I've been a big fan of the Ballistic. It's served me well. I have no complaints. I would buy another one in a heartbeat if I was buying Daiwa. All right, next we have, for the Shimano fans, this is a Shimano Vanford, okay? Vanford 3000, C3000 HG. Again, you will see, keep hitting the light up there, the bigger paddle style handle. Out of all of the reels, the Vanford is the lightest, okay? I'll have to check the Ballistic, but I believe the Vanford is lighter than all of them. And if you're wondering why I skipped over a Shimano that seems to be very popular and is about 30 or 40 bucks less, actually a lot of people say they're the same. CI4, what the hell? The Stratic. For a freshwater fisherman not fishing in brackish water, the Vanford is so much lighter than the Stratic. And you may say you don't care. I get it. If you need to save the money, want to save the money, by all means get a Stratic. But in the old days, 20 years ago, I fished Stratics. I had Stratics. I have never had so many problems as I did with those Stratics. So it really kind of turned me off to it. It turned me off from Shimano spinning reels as a whole for quite some time. Obviously that's changed, but the Vanford to me is such a great buy. For what you get for the money, it's really hard for me to not go with the Vanford. I will say I took advantage of the Shimano new Vanford coming out, because the previous models, which are the ones that I've been using, the prices came down to like 180 bucks. Phenomenal drag, which is really was the problem with the old ones for me. So they fixed that problem. Phenomenal drag, lightest reel in class for the money. The Ballistic might be close, and the only other one is that $299 Tatula, which I just don't see the advantage unless you're just straight up a Daiwa guy. So, and I know some of you are. I was at one point. Now I honestly, I buy what I like, but I buy for value. Right now, that Vanford offers the most value for buck as far as I'm concerned. Okay, it's a great reel. They're super light, great drag on them. And it kind of shy of you going out and spending 500 bucks on like an excellant or something like that, or more. I'm not really sure how much they are. These have just been phenomenal for me. I've caught plenty of big fish on these spinning reels, and it serves the purpose. If you are on a budget, that Daiwa Fuego is still my endorsement in the price category, right? Very smooth, strong drag, and it stood the test of time. All right, that was my number one reel in my hand for a long time, just because it feels so solid. Now, if you look at the bodies of the Sahara versus the Fuego, this Daiwa has their Digigear air rotor and hard bodies frame. This is a solid workhorse, and I would not have a problem putting this out there for guys catfishing, striper fishing. Just get the appropriate size. But the Fuego is a super workhorse in that lower price range. As far as the upper stuff, the other thing, that 220, 240, that's kind of where your Ballistic and your Vanford is. That's kind of my price point for my spinning reels. Now, fortunately, with spinning rods, you don't have to have a ton of rods. I think I have about 7 or 8. Most of the time, I'm not taking more than 4 in the boat at a time, but hey, you never know. Sometimes that's different. Sometimes I take them all. You just don't know. If you like this kind of content, again, hit that subscribe down there. Drop me a comment down there in the comment section. Let me know what your favorite spinning reel is. Maybe I'm missing something. I know somebody's going to say the new Miravel. Have not tried it, okay? And I'm pretty well set on what I'm doing in my spinning reel game now, so I probably won't, just to be honest with you. Thanks for watching. I'm Sean, the Average Angler. We'll see you on the next one.